I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg. Rebecca?
I'm Rebecca Wedeman.
And we are the CRM Playaz Plus. We're crunching today.
Yeah.
We're crunching today because usually this is about the time the crunch comes on, but we have a keynote. So we're combining the Playaz Watch Party keynote with the crunch. And you got, I was going to say, how is it you don't want to, there's no way of really combining these into one word. So
no,
I tried. Anyway, we are here for a pop-up watch party. I'm in Vegas. The Venerable One is in Manassas. Rebecca, where are you?
Detroit.
Man, we're covering all. We got the East Coast, we got the Midwest, we got the West. We're covering all ground here. But anyway, it is day 2 for PegaWorld. It's the day 2 keynote, and we figured, what the hell? Why don't we continue on?
Why not? Why not?
How about CRM Playaz Crunch Party?
How about? And everything I'm thinking of sounds like a breakfast cereal. So I'm
I know
hesitant.
it's one thing.
Yeah,
You can call it General Crunch.
it's actually breakfast out here, but I don't think it's breakfast where you guys are.
No.
But anyway, we are.
Eastern time, Eastern Daylight, right? Detroit's on Eastern Daylight, right, Rebecca?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, now that we got our time zone straightened out, we are just standing by waiting for the day 2 keynote to start. And since we do have maybe a minute or two, Rebecca did send over a slide or some bullet points of what she is looking for. So let me ask her to walk us through this.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 things. First, what is Pega's sort of differentiator from Blueprint and from its foundation as a BPM player? Those should be really important kind of AI differentiators, but interested in hearing more from a product perspective, how they're helping customers understand that and how they're helping customers articulate that, how they're having their champions really articulate that if they're looking at competing AI solutions within the enterprise. And then the other key piece, and we talked about this, Brent, a little bit last week, how Pega is helping customers calculate and manage AI cost, right? So as we think about moving forward, sort of in a headless world where I'm picking and choosing different LLM calls or different ways to process similar transaction, how Pega is helping customers really understand what's the cost of AI and optimize returns from it.
Cool. Paul, I know you didn't get a chance to do any bullet points. What are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for, in effect, aside from, I guess I'm looking for more of yesterday. Was probably the best way to put it. Look, I'm not looking for anything radically different. I'm looking for a continuation of the conversation they started yesterday and they did start around token costs and things like that. Was actually a big deal yesterday. And, I still would like to see more on the partner side, I think. They still felt, they had a partner on, but they
had AWS. That was their main partner there.
Yeah, but they fell short on the ecosystem part of that. And I get, I think what John said yesterday was right. They only have so much time to do that, although they seem to.
They had a lot of time.
I was about to say that. And today, if they have 2 hours, you will only see me for one of them. But I do want to see more there, I think. But beyond that, just a continuation of yesterday to basically, in effect, verify, it wasn't just a speech.
Yeah. I know they have several customers on board for today as well. I don't know if they have any strategic partnerships. They might, but I know they're going to be digging into Blueprint, and they're definitely going to be digging into Blueprint from a customer engagement blueprint level. So.
It's always good.
Oh, look who is here. We've got our correspondents, Liz Miller, in the room, and we also have Adrian.
Okay.
So we got
the team.
dueling. No, not dueling.
No, duo.
The gang's all here.
Duo.
DUAL, not DUEL.
Right. They're there. And we are welcoming any kind of commenting they can give us on what the mood is in the room, the reactions to news, all that good stuff. So thank you both for being there and commenting for us. That'll be great. Yeah, I still have a few minutes to go, another few minutes to go tomorrow with, let me see if I can get her in here. Kara Manton, Kara is the one who has walked me through from day one of Blueprint 2 years ago till a year update last year. And so for the third straight year, Kara is going to walk me through what's going on in the tech pavilion when it comes to Blueprint. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
That should be great.
And
Yes.
since we're still waiting, yesterday I spent a few good minutes for the very first time. This guy has been at Pega for 25 years. This Chief Information Officer, David Vidori. And let me just play a little taste of what he talked about when it came to all that token stuff and all the costs. So let me just play this clip, and maybe by then we'll be ready to go.
To date, if you're using Claude or OpenAI, you can do some amazing things in prototype, and you can spend a tremendous amount of money playing around and not producing any results. So part of my role at Pega is to drive digital transformation, make sure that our systems are built for today and more importantly for tomorrow. I'm also leading up the AI First initiative for the company. And that covers enabling everyone with the fundamentals on how to use AI, how to use it properly. The other half of that is governing AI, governing the use of it, governing the spend of it. And if we did not put caps on people's use of AI in parts of the company, they would run up, unbelievable bills and really have nothing to show for it. So to have an announcement that, you don't have to worry about the cost of AI, you have predictability.
Yeah.
And, that it is focused on the outcomes, which is really the most important thing. I think it's going to resonate a lot with all of our customers and get them less focused on, being able to track and manage all of that spend and more focused on actually doing what matters, which is moving our businesses forward.
I'll leave it at that. So that was definitely one of my bullet points. I want to direct AI anxiety talk. And well, Alan did that right from the jump, and the imagery that he created, Paul, if you remember the vivid trees and then the
vultures, and then the flocks of birds at the end with the sunlight breaking through.
Hey, Christopher is back. All right, we're glad to see you. And look at this, Liz Miller is in her room. So I already sent Liz a link to join us, and guess what?
Oh,
Liz, with us.
There you are.
What's happening?
This is going to be cool. Yeah, we're going to have you. We still got Adrian in the room giving us the feel for what's going on, but we got Liz on the broadcast, so this is good. So Liz, what are you looking for in this next keynote?
Listen, I will never turn down more Spicy Alan. I'm never going to say no to another appearance of Spicy Alan on stage. So you never know what's going to happen today. But I am looking forward to seeing more customers. And I know Wells Fargo is on tap, so we're going to hear from them. Because what I thought was super interesting was sitting back yesterday and remembering not just this PegaWorld and not even just last PegaWorld, but let's remember like the last 4. Right. And this has been a company that has been sitting there and saying very consistently from very early days that AI is not some mystical, wonderful black box that is just wondrous and does mysterious things on the inside. They've been very pragmatic about that approach. And Alan has been very insistent about the difference between applying things at design time as opposed to applying things at runtime.
Yep.
And that now I think Pega is being very intentional about saying that just isn't about process, that just isn't about development skills and efficiency. This comes down to dollars and cents. And I think they are trying to articulate how the affordability metric in that difference of where AI is included. Like you don't have to re-reason a workflow that has worked the same way for the last 30 years.
Right.
You can optimize that with agentic once at design time, reason it once, and then run it the way we've been running AI for the last 5-10 years in a far more efficient and a far more affordable manner that leave the big agentic firepower for the things that you need it for and start to look at that. So I'm hoping we hear customers actually talk about how that is real for them today. So that's what I'm hoping for.
All right. And Spicy Alan.
And Spicy Alan, because
So Alan's coming back today?
I don't know if he is, but I always hope, Paul. I'm not going to.
He might make a cameo appearance or something.
Yeah,
like
listen,
that.
he got on stage yesterday and basically called every AI vendor a drug dealer. So
I know.
I'm just
Alan-
saying.
That was Paul's favorite part, actually.
A little more. I would love it. It was like watching Hot Ones, but with a keynote. It was great.
And, Rebecca, Patrick is Patrick with you?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure
I think I would be so stoked if I could just see Patrick like jump up on the top of the bed, like he could make just a leap on the background of like I'm playing with something, and he'll just be like
that would be Spicy Patrick. Then
Spicy Patrick.
That would be
Patrick.
Patrick is just
She just looked at him like no one's asking you to be spicy right now. She just looked down
it's
like
too early or whatever.
Century.
All right, I'm just gonna pop this up just to keep track of things, but they're running a little late today. They were on time for the most part.
All right. They got an hour of me. That's all I know.
That's it.
We got
That's right.
spicy venerable Paul Greenberg too, apparently. So.
Retirement has its benefits.
It didn't happen last night, unfortunately.
No, that was definitely not. That's the other reason they only have an hour of me. I'm still sulking from the Knicks losing.
Oh.
Oh well.
I
should post what I'm looking for again. I didn't post my bullet points. Let me post mine.
That's right.
Wow, they're still the same. How about that? I'm still waiting for AD. Nobody's talking about AD yet. Huh?
Well, some man was arrested for domestic battery today. The left tackle.
That's not good.
No, I just saw that.
I hadn't seen that one.
Happened in the last 30 minutes. That's why.
Yikes.
I can't remember his name. I didn't know his name when I heard it. When I saw it, I mean.
Yeah, that's definitely not good. Come on now, let's get going on this keynote so I can kind of forget that last thing we just said. I don't want to think about it.
I'll tell you his name as soon as I can find it.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Brent's like, it's okay. Erase.
We'll get it later. We're waiting. We're just waiting for this live stream to begin shortly. That's all. Anybody got any good jokes? No, I'm just kidding.
You learned a new joke. You just can't tell it here.
Oh, yeah. I learned a lot of new things here. I can't say. I'll just leave it at that for the time being.
Brent came for an education. Let me tell you.
Between Liz and Tara, I have been fully educated on some stuff.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Not coffee, I assume, but
we're just here to spread the family allyship. It's just what we're here to do.
Yeah. We did it. You guys did a fantastic job. Let's put it like that.
But you know what's funny about that, Brent, is that someone was asking me, like, there's this when everyone's like, well, oh my gosh, like Pega, they like, why are they the way they are? I'm like, they're this really pragmatic organization that encourages their customers to just come as they are, right? Like it's that like, hey, just you can be a customer here. You just come with all your weird legacy stuff. Like, come with all your things. There's dancing. What am I missing?
What's going on? Why aren't we?
What you're missing.
There he is.
Hi,
Hey, Patrick.
Yay.
Yay.
Hi, guys. I'm here.
There he is. Oh, wow. Look at
Kissies.
that.
Patrick, any bullet points for us? You want to tell us what you're looking for in this keynote, Patrick?
I'm looking for.
I heard about Spicy Alan. I think that sounds pretty cool.
Spicy Alan rules the day.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that beautiful dog.
Well, unfortunately, we're not seeing. I guess they don't want to put the cameras on while the dancing
All
is
right,
going.
this is a much better show here.
We got Patrick.
Patrick gets some
Way
licks.
better. Some random people dancing.
Can I ask about this real quick? like I've been at least 3 keynotes this year that have involved people dancing with either drums or
Stilts?
violins.
Stilts?
Yeah, what?
Nothing will ever beat the pros opening.
Oh,
What was it? The
Shackleton.
No.
Shackleton.
Do
Poor
not bring that
Andres
back into my, don't bring that back into my consciousness, Brent. That is not okay.
Oh, it was not okay then.
Yeah, still scarred. Still scarred.
Yeah. So that was different.
Yeah, I would say so. Let's see what Christopher has to say. The unresolved enterprise AI problem is not access to data. It is whether the data preserved enough meaning for agents to trust it. No one is addressing that. Well, no one but me.
With a terrible emoji smiling face.
What is the P?
That's what I mean. I think he actually meant
That's
close
supposed to be an emoji.
parentheses
Yeah.
instead of
Oh,
P. Yeah, it's
You put a
different.
period at the end of it. I don't know what that
Right.
is, but I don't know.
Well, that was the end of the sentence, so he's
Yeah.
sort
Yes.
of proper grammatically, but I think he meant the closed parentheses smiley face.
Well, I guess good, clean.
I still want to meet this guy, man. I want to meet this guy.
Yeah, but he's right about the data problem. It's good, clean, relevant. What were those 4 V's or 5 V's that went along with data? I can't remember.
If they're the same, so if there's a thing that starts only with the same letters, then I don't care.
You know, it's like value, veracity.
Yeah, but that means they're squeezing
quality.
it in to sound cool with 5 letters.
Well, I mean,
they're all the same, and then it becomes less meaningful automatically. You can use.
Hey, man, I'm just a messenger. Don't shoot me down.
Out.
We were talking about dancing a few seconds ago.
Yeah,
I don't know where we went.
Are they still dancing?
We blame this on Christopher. Yeah, let me see what's going on here. It just says live stream shortly. I don't know.
Oh no, they're going.
So maybe refresh this.
No, they're going.
I'm now. I got it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're going.
Is actually a lot like that.
All right, here we
It's a little
go.
bit hard. It can be a little bit scary. It's a little bit different. But if you actually dive in, if you commit to learning, if you stay relentlessly curious, it can be really exciting and really empowering. You know, it is as much a people change as it is a technology change. And that means all of us need to be continuously learning, continuously pushing ourselves, continuously surrounding ourselves with the teams that allow us to come through this transformation. We're going to talk a lot about that today. And having that inclusive, diverse team is so important. We've got a panel at 11:30 coming up after this on inclusivity by design. And you know, I have said for a long time that inclusivity and innovation go hand in hand. As the exec sponsor of Pride at Pega, I want to wish a happy Pride to all of our LGBTQ plus members of the community, all their allies.
That isn't running away from that.
The more voices we bring into this AI conversation, the better and more impactful the change we're going to be able to drive. And you know, I think one of the important voices, one of the important skills that we need to develop are some of the people who can help drive that reimagination of what the business needs to look like, of how work gets done. And we're committed not just to providing really incredible software and technology like Blueprint, but actually helping develop some of those skills and those roles that people are going to need in order to both succeed in their own careers and also drive change in the business. So today, we actually announced a new set of enablement and programs to support what we're calling the solution designer. Right? I think this is going to be an incredibly impactful role as we move into the AI world. These are people who can sit with one foot in the business, really understanding the change that needs to take place, what kind of transformation is possible. They know how to facilitate.
So he's saying these are a new set of jobs?
Actually drive that change. But then they also have the skill to take tools
role.
like Blueprint and not just make that change theoretical.
Could be the
but
same people,
actually
just
design
different
the processes of the
things they
future.
do.
So there are some great new solution designer classes available on Pega Academy. There's an amazing Pega Blueprint and app design expert
it's kind of
circle
nice
on our
here,
community
company
that I
approaching
invite
this
all of you to
right,
join. They've got a
the
booth in
right
the
way.
Innovation Hub.
They
Please
really
go
are.
check them out. Also, our solution builders.
They
Well,
have
they're
people who
actually
are,
addressing the big
actually then
AI
taking those
anxiety
designs and
driving
connecting them
things,
to existing
costs
systems,
and
making them
jobs.
work. Hopefully, you are
And the learning curve.
incredibly excited
Yeah, and learning curve
about
and
what
culture
we showed you
too.
yesterday in Infinity 26 and the
They've
new
literally checked every
Infinity
box
Studio
so far.
Blueprint AI built in with your coding assistants built in, and hopefully all of you, I am personally, are pretty pumped and amazed at the possibility of actually plugging agents into your business, into your mission critical workflows, but not having to pay that running token meter, right? Not having a token charge, instead paying for the work you get done, paying for the outcomes you deliver, and letting AI and Pega's really powerful architecture do the work for you. You know, we have some pretty incredible technology for workflow automation, but also for driving decisioning. You know, I joke that up until like 3-4 years ago, Rob Walker would get up here and we would talk about the stuff that we do in Customer Decision Hub, and that was AI, right? Now we kind of call that machine learning or predictive models. But that kind of AI, that kind of decisioning maintains incredibly important because of the value that it can deliver to our clients and our businesses. And we have one of our clients here today who is just an expert in this, right? Wells Fargo is delivering personalized conversations, as you are going to see, at massive scale. In fact, our friends at Gartner just recently named Wells Fargo a genius digital brand. Because, yeah, right? Yeah, give it up. Right? Because of how they are able to apply this AI billions of times in real time to make better experiences, to streamline their customer experiences. So here to tell that story, please join me in welcoming Marsha Osborne and Giles Richardson. All right, we're getting bud. Nice.
That's cool. 2 speakers at the company, not just
Good morning,
one.
everyone, and thank you for having us.
And nobody
I'm
from
Marsha.
Pega on it.
I
That's
lead
cool.
marketing for our consumer lending businesses. And today, Giles and I are excited to share with you the journey we've been on to build what we call next best conversation.
Ooh,
And I'm
I like
Giles.
that.
I'm the head of marketing strategy and delivery.
Oh,
And we're
Liz
going to tell this
disappeared.
today as a shared story. This is how we framed out
There
the
you are.
challenge, how we built the capability, and the things we learned
Next
along the
best
way.
conversation. I don't
At
think
its
I
core,
heard
this
that.
is about one question. When a customer interacts with us, what is the best thing for us to talk about with them in that moment? So we have a complex challenge.
I will reiterate what I
We
said
serve
yesterday, though.
nearly 70
I would
million
like to see a
customers,
customer who's not in
and
financial
interact with us
services,
in a variety
because
of different ways.
every single
They
one, so
may
it has
log
been, and
on
it's
to our
historically
mobile
they
app
always
or our
are,
online banking.
and they need to
They
step
may visit
outside that
branches
industry
or
a little bit. I
ATMs.
know they're comfortable and they have a huge presence there,
We
but
reach out
even
to
so,
them via phone or email.
Yeah, it'd be nice to mix it
In
up a bit.
all, that
well, they
creates
need to mix
millions
it
of
up a
touch
bit,
points
actually,
every year.
to show they have the
We
validity in
also
the
have a
other
lot of
industries.
things we can talk to our customers about. Some conversations may be about a product to meet a financial need. Some may be about using a product they already have with us. Still others could be ways our customers can improve their overall financial health.
So this is not just a question about scale, it's a question about relevance and the challenge that gives us. So in these moments, and to be fair, there's a lot of moments, we have nearly 6 billion of these moments per month. There's that question, like, what's the next best thing to say to that customer in that moment?
Fortunately, we have a few things working in our favor. We have a lot of data, and because we are the customer's bank, many of these interactions occur in authenticated environments. In many cases, we know exactly with whom we're speaking.
And there was a very real imperative to doing this. Like, if we did this well, then we could deepen the relationships with our customers, and we could use those interactions far more wisely. And if we failed or we did it badly, well, there's plenty of other banking options out there just ready to give these customers relevant experiences.
And so once we aligned on our mission, we realized that to deliver this would require 3 distinct stages. We started to think of it as a 3-act play. So Act 1 is about making marketing safely. Banking is a regulated industry, and we take our responsibilities very seriously. If we were to present the wrong message to the wrong customer, attach the wrong disclosure, fail to retain evidence properly, the consequences can be substantial for the customer and for the bank.
So the first few moves weren't about sophistication, it was about control. So we redesigned workflows, we reimagined governance structures.
Well, it's also, Christopher, that's where they have the most presence in this
really looked
particular
hard at our
company
retention schedules.
by a long
Basically
shot.
get us into the place where we
They've
would
been in it for
demonstrably
as
make
long as the company
markets
has
safely.
And
existed.
simply put,
So,
if we couldn't
They
do
are
this
marquee
right every
companies.
time,
When you look at
there
those
was no
logos.
point in
Yeah.
moving ahead any further.
oh, no, they're a huge
And I don't
company.
think you ever really are
It's not
truly
that-
done in this area.
I'm
but
just
we got
saying
to the point where we're
Christopher
good enough to
needs to
move on the
also
next act.
account for the fact that Pega itself
So this is
has
about
that level of
activation and
presence.
measurement.
Yep.
And the big question here is like, how do you put the right message in front of the right customer in the right channel at the right time? And then crucially, how do you measure that it works? So
Four
this
rights.
required us to build a couple of new components.
One of the first things we needed were centrally developed audiences. So before,
They're actually
each
doing the
channel would
handoffs pretty
build
well,
its
I
own
have to say.
audience from different data sets. And
I'm
so
guessing
one
they
channel
practice
could be
those
talking
handoffs.
Yeah, I know, but they're good.
customer group
They're
from
pretty
another.
good.
So you
Give
cannot
credit there, it's
maintain
pretty
message
smooth.
consistency or measure
Well,
impact
I'm guessing they work
reliably when
together,
you have different
not just
starting
on stage,
audiences.
but in the actual company. So.
Yeah.
And then we
Probably
needed
pretty
single
familiar with
positioning.
each other.
And this gets to the heart of the matter, because we're not just asking, what's the best thing to talk to a customer about this week or even today? We're saying, what's the best thing to talk to the customer about in that moment, in that channel, in that placement in that channel from these creative options? And that's tough. That running models at that granularity and speed is impressive. So this is where we look to Pega and the Customer Decision Hub as our best option in this
You got a
space.
customer decision hub. I
And
think this is going to be the star of the.
Where we are today is that we deliver nearly 6 billion of these interactions per month, and we've got to do this fast. So we actually need to do that fully reasoned decisioning in under 300 milliseconds.
Wow.
Currently, we're running about 250. And it's also that rather complex orchestration. And if we think about it, this is real-time eligibility, real-time decisioning, put together when pull the content and do that final digital assembly has got to always work. And we've achieved near zero timeouts. So we've been talking about moments. Let's take a moment to look at that. 6 billion decisions, under 250 milliseconds, zero timeout per month.
Wow.
Yeah, those numbers are crazy. Yeah, that deserves something.
Dang.
Product and tech team are right there.
So how
That's
many
all
people are
But
there?
it gives us the
I don't know. I haven't heard a number.
to enjoy the fact that currently
Liz, you
with
have a
the-
number?
No,
the
we, you know
Customer
what?
Decision Hub with the world's
We've asked a couple
largest
people, and a
implementation
couple people have
in the
asked,
world.
and we haven't gotten a full number.
Yeah.
We also needed to measure impact
I still
properly.
remember, Liz,
So
you
we
at
started
PegaWorld
with
when you
clicks
overheard those
as
people
the
from
event, but we
Accenture
quickly moved down the funnel
years ago.
conversion
I'll never
and then to
forget
the
that.
value of that conversion.
Don't talk
And
to
that's where
analysts.
you really
Yeah.
start to deliver on the promise of next best
Wasn't that a Rick
conversation.
Springfield song?
Not just the
Don't
conversation the
talk-
customer
Oh,
is
sorry.
most likely to act upon, but the value of them doing
You know
so.
what I find really interesting about this is they're
So at
making
this
this a really
point,
big
we have
experience
clear and
play, right?
consistent eligible
when do we
audiences
want
across
to talk to the
channels,
customer about, when do we want to talk to the
decisions
customer about it?
effectively in the moment.
They've also
This
had
is
to rebuild.
already a huge benefit
So
for the
this is
customer
about,
and for the
they've had to
bank.
rebuild a
We've
lot of
reduced
trust with
irrelevant
customers.
Yeah, like
messages,
pretty much
strengthened
all of it.
governance,
All
to
of
your
it.
they're
point.
using
Yeah.
touch
And the fact that they're going to do it
But
through
for
this
Act
type
3,
of
we knew
rapid
there
personalized
was
messaging,
another
like,
level to
we know
unlock.
you, trust us.
In
They're proving
reality,
it with
at a
this, which
lot
is
of places,
interesting.
we're still running fairly simple structures.
Well, they've
So
spent,
we
it's
had
probably been what, 8
broad
years or
single
so since
audience
that
attached to a single message
scandal hit.
journey, and then
That's a
single
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And as
was
marketers,
so
we
huge.
were
Though.
asking for more.
And they've spent pretty much
Instead
all
of
8
a
years
single
trying to
audience, we
rebuild.
wanted
So
several more
they've had some
nuanced
time. They've done a good
audiences
job, to their credit.
to
They really have.
recognize slightly different
Well, you got to say
journeys
they
for our
probably wouldn't be on
customers.
stage if they
Instead of
weren't feeling
assuming every
comfortable
customer
about what
was at
they,
the same stage,
how they were able to
wanted
recover from
creative
that.
to recognize those in early consideration versus active exploration versus close to sign up. And on top of that, we wanted more creative variants so that we could test and persist the most effective ones.
And when you start playing that out, the complexity grows fast. So we're talking 3 audiences, and there are 3 journeys per those 3 audiences, and 3 creative.
Once again, I like the pacing of this, the interaction. They threw out the big numbers. They're talking their way through that stuff.
Now,
So far, it's been really good.
It's interesting that she's doing more of the kind of narrative storytelling where he's focused on the numbers and sort of the nuts and bolts of it. It's a good way to break it out.
Yeah, it's a good way to the team tag team this.
Yeah.
And so for a
It's
while,
actually
we didn't know
particularly
how we were
interesting
going
since
to
he's the
solve that,
EVP of marketing.
But in early 2025, agentic AI started to show
Normally,
up.
he would be the one doing that.
They broke
Yeah.
it down. They have multiple lead
building
marketing
where you
Yeah.
bring
executives
in and
there.
you produce that. It's got clear limitations, and this was not going to scale to 30x.
And Paul, this is well scripted because the cameras are moving perfectly when they go
I know.
from person to person. This is very well structured.
Well, whoever the production team doing the actual event, the main stage, has done a great job so
The
far.
velocity unlock we've been looking for.
Whoever they are.
That's what will help.
I think
next
Austin's there.
conversation move to hyper-personalization.
So at this level of complexity,
I don't think he was at MGM.
No, he wasn't. He was
along
at, what's it call
One
it?
is that manual
Bellagio or something like
intervention
Bellagio.
usually makes things worse, no matter how good your intention. You do need the data to prove it out, but we saw time and again
There you go, Christopher.
putting a finger on the scale usually made things less efficient rather than more.
One of the other things we learned is that if your system is ever described as the black box, you have already lost trust. So we spent a lot of time and energy and some significant custom development to pull out all the post-decision results and put it in a place where we can analyze it properly. So right now, if I log into the mobile app, I can see the message that I was decisioned to see, but I can see every single message.
All right, Adrian, if your system is ever described as bad,
but
all
I
right.
wasn't shown alongside
Good one.
the individual propensities and the values of you doing so. So it's that level of transparency that you need to then form the explainability to go forward. We needed that.
And finally, while single channel decisioning is valuable, omni-channel optimization is where the real unlock occurs. And so if a customer is telling you in one channel that they aren't interested in a particular conversation, you can
Always
immediately
hated the word
and
omni-channel.
use the next touch point more wisely and talk about something that they
I
actually
know
care
I
about.
think I know the answer to this, but do you like the customer use cases when they're just delivered like this, or do you want the vendor to kind of orchestrate the conversation?
Are you asking everybody or me?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I'm just curious. I tend to like this way better, but
way better. Way
They're not leading the witness.
Right.
Colleague and now suitably nervous Jeff
Or else they're not
Rothbard.
kissing the witness's ass
Next
either.
session, it'll go really beneath
Right,
them.
which is the other thing they
That would
do.
be terrible to
Thank you
see.
very much.
Sure.
We are
Yeah.
excited by all we have learned so far on this journey and even more excited about what's to come.
Thank you.
Good job.
that was good.
They should bring the Dropkick Murphys on.
Please welcome Pega's General Manager of One-to-One Customer Engagement, Dr. Rob
I've
Walker.
known him 21 years. I've known this guy.
Isn't that a different title?
What did they call him here? Oh,
You know,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, no, he used to be chief scientist,
Good
for
morning.
God's sake.
First of all, that was a great story by Wells Fargo. Marsha, really good. Thanks for the partnership.
He used to be so quiet.
For a while now on this stage.
He's got to be
I've
one of my
been talking
favorites.
every
I love his
I've
keynotes. They're
been
great.
talking about the future
He's very
of AI,
smart, man.
right? And where
Oh,
we
my
saw
God.
that.
You know, he's a good friend
going.
of Ray
For over
Gerber,
a
and he get
decade,
along really well
has
from
been
way
about
back,
the
way back.
rewards,
Accordion.
the
Two of
risks.
them's got to be trouble together.
They were both there at Accordion when they were about.
Well, Ray,
And,
I think Rob was
this is how
not.
I
I think
opened
Rob came in at
in
Pega, but
20
when Accordion got acquired, Ray was there.
with
So, and the
warning
two of them
humanity
became really
of
close.
Bill Joy. And he
He
was
still
the
talks to
chief
him, apparently, fair
scientist
amount.
of Sun Microsystems. So that's a blast.
It ran into Francis Carden yesterday too.
And it's a bit of a
I thought he was
dark
retired.
piece, but
I don't think he was
will
retired. He
turn
just
out to
left.
be,
He started his new
prescient.
thing, but
We don't know yet.
Okay.
But he was worried about 3 technologies. And the first one on the left was biotech. And mind you, this was long before we had these genetic breakthroughs like, CRISPR, Cas9. None of that had happened yet. So that's where he was particularly worried about. And then on the right, we have nanotechnology. Now, that field hasn't progressed as fast as biotech, but we'll see what AI, which obviously sits in the middle here, what AI is going to do for nanotechnology. It did a lot for biotech, right? I think we all know about like AlphaFold, right? Unlocking, decades-long challenges in protein folding. So while his manifesto is
Sorry about that.
a bit of a doomer piece, honestly, maybe it's comforting to know that after nearly more than a quarter of a century, we have at least sort of narrowed down these three potentially existential problems to all three. We're not done yet. We will not know. Hopefully, Bill Joy is not that prescient, but it's really worthwhile reading. So I'm going to assume that most of us here, including myself, obviously, are closest to AI. And the other thing I showed in 2017 was sort of an early
Is it wrong to daydream about like a debate or at least just a coffee conversation between Rob Walker and Michael Wu?
And
No.
was not.
I bet we could actually make that happen.
We could probably make that actually happen.
Yeah.
Well, I know we
That's
can
a
make
great
that happen.
idea.
If some of you were there,
that would be mind-bending.
Not now after it.
Mind-bending.
Which one is the
All right,
I mean, fake
challenge is in.
Not by
And your idea, so you're going to have to be involved in it too.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
About
what happens when you put the dummy in the middle? It's going to be me.
Scary, algorithm.
That is a great idea. I hadn't thought of that.
That did like
those two.
Things, but I showed Bob Ross as an example, and I showed the video, which I think was really scary. This is just a still, but even then,
you know what? Remember Michael Wu did that
on his body.
That talk at IRL, and he used some of these.
And we're all very familiar with that. And
it's kind of represented in those pictures.
Unavoidable side effect of associative thinking. So that was a little scary. But on the other hand, those same neural networks also beat the best Go player on the planet in 2017. And that was long before AI experts had thought that was possible. And not just AI experts, also the gentleman in question here was quite shaken by his defeat. And afterwards, he said like it was like playing against God. So there's that. And then in 2019, we talked about many things, but one of the things was like the risk of combining these deeply opaque reasoning models with data that they are trained on that has all of these inherent human biases, right? And you get like very weird and disconcerting things like latent misogyny. And then in 2021, COVID intervened. I didn't do a keynote, but in 23, I first talked about agents and how they were going to automate work, obviously, and automate thinking. And of course, outsourcing labor is as old as humanity. We've done that before the Industrial Revolution, during and after. But outsourcing human intelligence, that's the first. And then last year,
I just sent a note to Michael.
25, also an odd
with
year.
a link to Rob's.
We went deep
LinkedIn
about
thing.
responsible AI in a time of, Gen AI agents. And I used a lot of scary robots.
And Liz and I will talk
that
about
point. But it showed sort of the LLM's immense power.
Well, you're there. Set up Rob while you're there.
But also their hidden and sometimes dangerous motivations under the hood, buried underneath multiple layers of opacity. So
I have this distinct feeling, though. I want to like brush those locks back
be a
up.
little different. I'm not going to talk about the future of AI. Don and I, and Don will join me shortly, want to talk about where we are right now. with AI
Jesus.
and the incredible opportunities
Terminator.
if it is safely deployed. But if I were to go into the future, I would have said something about like what's here on the right, which is a platform where AI agents can hire humans and pay humans to do the work that they cannot yet physically do. Right? At least until the robots arrive, of course.
The robots are kind of getting there.
And this platform, it's called Rent a Human. I kid you not. Yeah. So that's humans working for AI, right? I mean, outside of science fiction, who would have thought?
Sounds
Maybe
kind
we'll
of
join.
scary to me.
Have you guys seen those dancing robots
said,
that were on like America's Got
today,
Talent and in China?
We're going to talk about
If you
the here
haven't,
and
go
now.
look.
You just heard
It's
from
astonishing
Wells Fargo
how
and how
human their
Marsha and Giles and
moves
team
are and how
that
synchronized
CDH,
they are.
Customer Decision Hub, you know, at work so effectively in their bank. So for those not familiar, let me quickly revisit what it is that the Customer Decision Hub does, right? So it is fully center out. It's an enterprise decision engine that sits in the middle between all your channels, all your data sources, getting signals from all sorts of touch points. And if a customer, let's call her Miranda, is touching some channel, then at that moment, CDH, the Customer Decision Hub, will collect or receive all sorts of signals and behaviors from Miranda. Even if that is in another channel, even if she's in multiple channels at the same time, even, dare I say it, if her personal agent, her avatar, is doing the shopping for her. So all of these things are there. And then we're going to arbitrate over all of these.
That's the most important line of that whole conversation.
We need to
Even if her avatar is shopping for her.
What is she doing? We're looking at.
We're talking about our customer and acknowledging that
and
where we are today is that our customers are going to start building agents to do the actions for them.
For the organization.
So how, as we as a business, how do we address that? Is it different? Do we message the same? Do we process the data the same?
Calculate thousands of probabilities.
Do we,
thousands, and not your.
do we have enough trust in what we are providing that we'll let them do whatever they want without us trying to lead them any
moment in real time? And that's because Miranda, you know, the things she's just doing or not doing will influence most of what the interaction will look like. So we need to really have those probabilities in the moment and decide all of these things. And then what CDH will do is figure out what strategy to pursue. Is that selling? Is that service? Is that nurturing? Is it retention? And then for that strategy,
this may be a
the best action to
weird
sort of
question, but
that objective.
I was just sort of mulling over what he said about
Finally,
agents paying humans to do the physical work until robots.
We
But then who's authorizing the agents to
the treatments we call
to have budget to
How do
pay?
you talk about this action?
Right? I mean,
To
well, yeah, but there's an ultimately there's a, you know how we always say at the end of every B is a C. At the end of every A is a C
all of that
or is a B.
in less than
Really.
200 milliseconds.
The same people that allowed agents to go into a social community and create a religion.
Those kind of things. And then, if
Somebody's allowing agents to do this, right? So that they are people.
That's not so awesome, or it's too expensive, or here is a, you know, a competitor's rate that's better. Then we have to recalculate that in that 200 millisecond envelope. And that's necessary to make it not a one-off message, but make it a conversation. And that's obviously why Wells calls this, you know, the next best conversation.
It's kind of nice how they had the Wells Fargo people come and present from their perspective and how he is actually going over some of the technical aspects using their use case.
It's about that content, right? You need to be relevant to Miranda. You need to have a lot of options, and not just Miranda, you know, 70 million other customers. You have to sort of figure out what is the right thing. And you have to balance that with the fact that that whole process needs to be repeatable and auditable. So it's that combination, and that's sort of the balance. But you need a lot of content, because this is what it might look like. So we have Miranda's life cycle with this organization. She communicates through all sorts of channels. There's all sorts of messages, and there's a lot of content. And this is obviously the cartoon version of that, right? There is, in practice, it's way more than this. But the bottom line is that the marketing team has to, deliver all this. Giles said it, right? They have to build all of this content. The CMO is obviously impatient already. They're on the clock. The team really needs to work hard to get this done. And I say team loosely because, look at the left guy. His name is George. He's a data scientist. Nobody wants to talk to him. That's why he's in the corner. And it's not like they don't want to talk to him. It's more like, and he's often right, but they don't really always understand what they're saying. So there's a little bit of tension there, but this group of people needs to deliver this. And then there is a lot of value. You can't phone it in because there is so much value at the end of this. And Marcia and Giles kept the value card a little close to the chest, understandably, but I think we can all agree that they look pretty happy here on stage. And if that's the case, then this is one of the reasons why that might be. So this is literally the money slide. So what we're looking at here, that is like the number of actions on the x-axis. If you don't have a lot of actions, or only one, if you already know this is what we're going to talk about, let's find the customers that we want to send this to, you really don't need something like CDH. And if you're in the red zone, I'm sure there are simpler solutions. But if you move to the right, where you have progressively more actions, so this is where Wells Fargo and others live, right? You see in green the actual multiples on business outcomes of real CDH clients, right? So that's quite significant. And this is what we call, the click-through rate, or CTR, but the math and the principle works for conversion as well. And that's obviously what Wells Fargo is doing. So it does two things. These multiples mean that there is a lot of value to be had, certainly if you have like billions of interactions, but also that you create a lot of relevance. So it's both value and it is also customer satisfaction. So that's why everybody is sort of on the clock. So now that we're all up to speed, let's talk about this speed bump for a moment, this content bottleneck, right? Because that has just gone away, right? Content is cheap. We have Gen AI as a mega booster to do all of these things. So
I hate this part of the conversation. I'm not going to lie.
Amazing technology breakthrough. I think
this whole idea that
in
thanks to
lifetime,
AI,
maybe
content is cheap.
lifetimes,
Yeah, cheap
it's
is not
crazy
worth.
good.
Like that's
Cheap is
not.
crap.
Cheap is
it's also
slop.
very
Cheap is
opaque.
crap. Like that. That's
And
not what we
whoever
should be
is
selling
not
here.
or
Amen.
even suitable
Nice
for
slap.
every possible nail. So how do we pair the reward with the risk? So an analogy that I like is this one. It's the sculptor and the watchmaker. And the sculptor is sort of the right hemisphere and worries about things like concepts and content and creativity. And the watchmaker, who keeps everything honest, worries about precision, predictions, and performance.
Why is
And
the
what we
sculptor
do in
going to be wearing a
CDH
hoodie, though? That
is
kind of
to, and I believe, but look at the pavilion, the innovation hub, and sort of see if I speak the truth. We bring that together in CDH seamlessly, statistical AI and Gen AI. And it's truly the best of both worlds. So the customer engagement blueprint does obviously already a lot, right? Yesterday we saw the workflow blueprint. There's also a customer engagement blueprint, and they really combine these two things. But what Don and I will show in a moment is like how this works if we do this all agentically. And that brings me to the second speed bump. And that is that, and I'll just be honest, CDH may have this staggering ROI, but, it's a bit of a complex beast. And, think about it. It's an enterprise decision engine, right, that has to pivot in the moment between selling, surfacing, retention, nurturing, maybe collections, and do that across all channels. Marcia said it, like it's omni-channel, it's everywhere, inbound, outbound, paid channels, assisted channels, all these things, then decides billions of times every month what the next best action is, hundreds of millions a day, and learns from every interaction to get better next time. That's a lot, right? So something that does that kind of engine is not going to be trivial to be operated. Or maybe I should say, not trivial to be operated by humans. You need a trained pilot. But now, with agentic, and we will show this, it actually can be simple, right? You can fly this CDH plane by wire. It's a joystick. You have maybe a couple of screens left, but it's a lot simpler. So basically, what you have is like all the CDH capabilities at your fingertips, very little of the complexity, if any, and at least 10x the complexity. I think Giles was saying 30x. So I'm very cautious here. So this is what we can do. But agents, of course, are, there will be a commodity by next week, right, in AI time. Whether they are ours, whether they are others, it's the engine they have access to that will make the difference. And that, again, is pairing up a sculptor with a watchmaker. So maybe by now you're ready to sort of see this collaboration in action. So let me ask Don to join me on the stage. And Don probably is our brilliant CTO, but he is also leading marketing. So who better than Don, if it is Don?
It is.
What's he
Who
doing?
better than Don to take us through what the agentic version of CDH will be? Oh,
yeah, if I'm gonna wear a cloak, you're gonna at least put on the lab coat and be the watchmaker up here, Rob. So, we're really excited about this possibility. I'm personally very excited about the possibility of being able to use this agentic power to actually accelerate how we deploy the statistical AI that's in Customer Decision Hub. And yesterday, Corinne showed us Infinity Studio, right? And Infinity Studio brings in the power of Blueprint AI. It brings in all of those agentic coding tools so that you can build your Infinity workflow apps faster and better. So today, we are announcing Customer Engagement Studio.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Now, so what is this, right? This is actually a perfect example of what Alan was talking about yesterday. These are agentic workflows, actual workflows that then use agents to manage and optimize all of the decisions and data and actions and treatments that sit inside of Customer Decision Hub. And again, personally, I'm excited about this. When I don't have my CTO watchmaker coat on, I'm also running marketing at Pega. I've got the same objectives as any CMO, right? And unlike, say, Marcia and Giles, my team's focused on B2B, business to business. My customer, my audience is all of you here today, all of you who may be watching this live stream or watching a replay. And I want to make sure that I am relevant to everything that you need. And my team is stressed, just like that team that Rob showed, especially this time of year around PegaWorld. They want to be able to use agents and AI to deliver better results, but they need predictability, not just agent improvisation. They don't want to pay for a boatload of tokens, and we certainly want agents creating a bunch of stuff that isn't on brand or doesn't reinforce our message. We want agents working in a case, right? Following the rules, following the process. And that's exactly what Alan talked about yesterday. So what Customer Engagement Studio does is it takes a workflow and then it brings agents into that workflow to do the work for us. So for example, there's a conversational agent. Instead of my marketers having to go and talk in different screens in CDH, they can just chat with the conversational agent. They can take their natural ways of communicating, like marketing briefs, and just put them right in.
Exactly. And then we have like the marketing agent that will take your sculptor briefs, right? And I was going to say make sense of it, but it's like it will sort of analyze that, extract all the information, and makes it precise.
Yep. And then once we've got that, we can dispatch creative agents to create content or treatment, or maybe go out to our digital asset manager, our DAM, which is like fancy marketing terms for SharePoint. But go out to the DAM,
no,
right?
No, it's not.
No.
Content that we might already have
Gone.
built in.
Oh, we're having
And
words
this is
later.
A great example of the openness of Pega that Karim was
I can't
talking
believe you
about
just said that.
because you probably may already have a brand agent inside your company, something that knows your brand guidelines. You may be using tools like Adobe or Acquia that have their own agents that you can reuse, and we can plug in via MCP to those agents as well. This is center out at work.
Yep. And then we have,
Always comes
which
back
is
to center out.
arguably my favorite agent, I will admit, but we have the data science agent, right? And the data science agent is talking to services within CDH, like Prediction Studio, and now we'll take the complexity out of that and make it accessible not only to data scientists like George, but also to marketers.
And I like that data science agent, Rob, but my favorite agent is the performance agent, right? Because Ken might not know this, but as CMO, my best friend is the CFO. I want to deliver results for the business. And the performance agent can talk to the data science agent and then map what the data science agent is seeing back to the KPIs. Is our marketing actually working?
Absolutely. And then we have the compliance agent. And the compliance agent in that marketing team, he was not even in the room, right? But the compliance officer, but you know, who knows? But the compliance agent has to sort of orchestrate sort of all of this and make sure that not just the messaging is on brand, but that your marketing strategy doesn't have like some weird biases.
And that's really important, right? We want to make sure that we're following the rules. And that's why it's so important that these agents are orchestrated by a workflow. It also means that we're only pulling in the agents when we need them and giving them very specific tasks. We don't kick off all this crazy token burning in the background. All of this comes together so that marketing teams can not only work faster, they can produce better stuff. And it's easier for everybody in the marketing organization, not just George.
My head images of token burning.
What CDH can offer. Because Rob, as you said, CDH is a little bit of a complicated beast. There's lots of screens, there are lots of different areas to go to, there are lots of data science controls and knobs and levers. What we've done with Customer Engagement Studio is we've turned all of those screens into skills for our agents. So marketers and data scientists can communicate in their language, in their terms, and let the agents manage the underlying complexity and power of CDH. So now let's see what this looks like, right? So just stepping back, putting on my marketing hat for Pega, it has been a pretty incredible 36 hours. Just yesterday, Alan got up on stage and announced that with our predictable AI capabilities, we can deliver predictable outcomes and predictable costs. We will not charge.
That's such a great tagline for this. It covers two huge bases.
Yeah, right? That's awesome, right? That's exciting news. Karim got up here and he showed you how Blueprint can help you reimagine all of your ways of working. He spoke with AWS and we heard from Unum how you can use that capability to reimagine your legacy systems. Then Karim showed you Infinity Studio, right, which has Blueprint AI built in that brings in coding agents like Claude and GitHub and Codex to actually accelerate how you build Pega and build it better. And then right now, Rob and I are announcing this whole new capability called Customer Engagement Studio.
Once again, continuity of the narrative, man. Here it is.
Marketing team,
they really do a great job of lining things up and making it easier to understand.
He's so good at this.
All of the people that are
Well, they are. The company.
Right? And to do that, we
again,
do what
I've said it for as long as I've known him. I've said the same thing. The gold standard for corporate narrative.
Marketing is great. It's really important. You have to lock down who is your audience. What's your message? What's the pain point that you're addressing? What's the creative that you want to put around this? How are you going to measure whether or not your campaign is successful? And do you know what historically we marketers have done after we have written our brief? We had a meeting. Yeah, it was good, right? We had a meeting, and then we would have like another meeting to talk about that first meeting. And then we'd realize that nobody understood the data. So we'd have a meeting with George, and George would bring like a tuna fish sandwich, and the whole room would smell, and everybody would be unhappy, and then we go back to the brief. But anyway, look, we don't need to do that
That
anymore.
would be terrible.
Right now, I take the brief, I go to Customer Engagement Studio, and I just
Depended on how old the mail was.
Right, and Customer Engagement Studio, that conversational agent, gets to work figuring out how what's in that brief.
By the way, Michael's in.
Actions and things that we can drive in CDH. So it's already now figured out that my brief needs us to create 5 different next best actions to offer to all of them, right? As I go through that, the watchmaker, Rob, right? You are in this helping making sure that everything we are doing is right.
I always need to keep you guys, your sculptors, on the rails. So we use Pega Case Lifecycle and orchestrate sort of this whole process, which is your best practice.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So we're following the best practice. We're following what it needs to do. I'm going to go in and say, great, this looked like the right actions. Let's go ahead and start with the first action, which is, I think we want to send a sort of next best action about the best practices for CDH. And now we're actually going to talk about the engagement policy. So like, who do we actually want to engage with? Who's our target audience? But this is talking in a lot of language about things like policy considerations. Where did all of that come from?
Yeah, so this is all from your briefs, right? So in the brief that's specified. So the watchmaker will look at that brief and decompose it into, you know, eligibility, suitability, you know, all of those kind of things, contact policies, all by your best practice.
So my marketers don't need to think about all that. They just think about their target audience, and then the agent figures out how to find that target audience inside the data set that CDH has. That's really great. But if we can kind of continue through this, it almost seems like, right, CDH is giving me a little bit of pushback here, right? It's saying that the criteria was too restrictive, and that I might be able to expand the audience. So what's happening here?
Yeah, so it's really challenging, in this case, the marketing team, right, as the George of this world might do, right, and say, hey, listen, you want to sort of talk to all of your contacts, but maybe, you know, you can expand the criteria a little bit. Maybe it's a little too restrictive for this purpose.
So it's actually challenging me to use better the data and context that is available inside of CGH. I like a bigger audience, so we'll go ahead and relax and update that criteria. And now what it comes back, it says, great, it's updated it, and it's asking me if I want to test it.
Yeah.
Right, which I love, right? So what are we doing here at this build stage?
Well, no, that's just, we follow that process, right? To make sure that, you know, there's no weirdness happening.
Got it, right? So even sculptors like testing things. So I'm going to go ahead and ask CDH to test this policy for us, right? And it goes behind the scenes and it uses the simulation tools that CDH has to test and verify. And even in language that a sculptor can read, I can see from this bar chart that we found a bigger audience, right? I like a bigger audience. I like more people. This is great, right, Rob?
While still being completely relevant. This is all still one-to-one, just the way Wells Fargo described it, right? So bear that in mind.
So we're not going to spam you with stuff that isn't relevant. This is still one-to-one and targeted to you. All right, so now we have our audience. So now let's start going into building out the treatments. We're actually going to start with where those channels are. So based on my brief, it's selected some of these channels, right? It's giving me some choices. I'm actually gonna kind of narrow this a little bit based on the brief. So I'm only gonna have email. So I'm gonna go through that. And now I think, Rob, the creative agent is actually spinning behind the scenes here. And it has built me out some treatments, but it's actually giving me 2 different treatments. What's going on?
So the agents will now go to what you call the DAM, you know, fancy points. So goes to these assets, because if you already have an image or a text, it's already there, you know, you don't want to space cycles on that, right? But if it doesn't, then it can create, you know, new content for you.
Okay, that's great. I'm really trying to focus a little bit on consistency. I'd like sort of one single image, one single message. So I'm actually going to modify this to make sure that these treatments actually can be the same, so that we can have kind of one single treatment and make it more consistent. All right, so I've got that. And now it looks like it's found the right treatment. It's got a beautiful email. It's got the PegaWorld brand up there, which is exactly what I'm hoping to get. And it did that by going to my dam, finding the right images, doing all of that. So it looks like, Rob, like this thing is done, right? We're in the home stretch. We can
hold on. Now we're going through, approval stage. There's lots of compliant things. So, hold your horses.
All right, yeah.
We're following the process.
All right, approvals are important. It's important to comply with regulations. Also, I was talking to him prior to this, and Alan has actually said that he wants to make sure that we approve every marketing email. He personally approves every marketing email tied to PegaWorld. He doesn't usually do this. Usually we just send them out.
It's a good thing he had a disclaimer in there.
Right away. And this is actually going to use a new capability in our workflows called an agentic assignment, where an agent can use a variety of different channels to send out a request to somebody for an approval or for data. And the agent happens to know that Alan is like on WhatsApp 24/7, just nonstop. So if you get him a WhatsApp request, he'll usually respond back to it instantly. So he's gotten back. We've gotten our approval from Alan. So now what happens, Rob?
Yes, I agree. WhatsApp is the right channel. But so now what the agents are doing, they will publish all that has been configured and push it into the operational downstream systems like CDH, maybe Adobe if you're using that, another DAM, any of those things. Now we get real.
So you just said that quickly, but what you just described was a whole bunch of production work, right?
Oh, yeah.
To update CDH, update our website, update our email systems. The agents just do all of that for us.
Do all of that.
And now we are live with a new campaign. That's pretty cool.
That is.
You know what else can do that for you?
Yeah,
A dam.
applaud for the things. Hold on, wait a sec. Wait a sec.
Not a fancy SharePoint.
Rob, this is about a
Just
different
saying.
campaign. We've been running a legacy
And hold
transformation
on to that
set of content, right? So this
Well, I'm
is
not letting this one go.
where
I'm gonna be
that
bitter
campaign
for a
showing
while.
that there's a spike in interest. So what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is probably, George.
Tagline, Liz, is damn it.
And that agent.
No, it's damn. You gotta embrace damn by actually calling it by its real name, which is damn.
Looking for gaps.
Why do you think I cover it?
Performance issues. In this case, it was a good spike.
Yeah.
But you also want to know when it goes down and
Absolutely. But the important thing is it's proactively bringing that information to me, right? So I can drill in here.
I really was wearing that cloak.
Exactly what's happening. So
Listen, Frodo,
Okay.
stop calling damn fancy
CTOs
SharePoint.
and lead system architects in banking and communication are really
He said he was a watchmaker, though. He said he was a watchmaker, right?
It's going to offer me a chance to.
But what does that have to do with the cloak, though? But what does that have to do with the cloak?
I don't know. He's Frodo.
Regions are engaging.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe-
closer to that. Frodo works better here.
And the sculptor is wearing the cloak. I don't know why.
Metaphor works.
No.
Continuously make their
Still want Matt Healy to come running out in the UPS outfit again.
like agents are guiding me
He's another
to,
cameo.
in just minutes what used to take weeks.
When this is over, ladies and gents, I will take leave
And
of.
it's really the magic of this agentic marketing.
Alan is coming back out again, Paul.
As I said before,
It's all right.
all the power.
Yeah, you're like,
I literally
and so
scheduled something I had to do since I was here.
Yeah,
So,
well, and Robert, we started this.
and I know
with
it's in
me
great
running our
hands, so
system, right?
no problem.
that is correct. So this was basically human prompted, right? This is a human writing a brief and putting it into the customer engagement studio. But there are other ways to trigger it as well.
So the agents
I
are
will say
also
this.
monitoring
I think
things and looking for things like
It's
gaps.
important for vendors
Maybe
to
one of our
realize
channels stopped working. Maybe
need to
email
have
sends got blocked.
certain time limit
Maybe
in mind.
we got
doing
so good
this.
at personalizing for one group of people that we were leaving another group of our audience without any relevant offers. And these agents
Your
will
mic seems to be
constantly
going in
monitor
and out now,
detect
Brent.
those gaps
Sort of.
before my humans, my marketers can find them.
Absolutely. And so that were the gaps. And we just saw this in the demo, it can be performance based.
I mean, look, having this is great.
So the other thing that this begins
The
to set
length
up
of this is
where
not great.
things get maybe a little science fiction-y, or we get into what I would call autonomous marketing.
We don't literally.
imagine now
oh wow! Finally got
that
to autonomous.
performance agent is able to discover a problem, have then a conversation with the marketing agent, and instead of requiring a human to write the brief, the performance agent can ask the marketing agent to write a brief to drive a new campaign to solve the performance gap that the agent solved. And the job of the marketer is to approve, validate, nudge, tweak the criteria, while the agents are continuously updating and
One thing that
operating on the
at
data
least is consistent
right?
throughout
That's so
this
powerful.
is
It's a
human
way that we can
presence.
drive more and better engagement.
And I think
always
that's
keeping
been
a human
thematic for them the entire
Yeah, so
time, which
I
is,
really think, Rob,
again,
it's
but
really
from a
just-
reasonable
it
standpoint,
is
not like
the watchmaker
we're competing with
capability,
agents,
statistical
right? We're
AI,
not fighting
deterministic
against
workflows,
agents
but the
to
sculpture
prove that humans
capability of
have to be
agents
in part of this.
creative
It's
to
not
find
a
new
battle. It's
solutions.
what it
I think
is.
it starts
The reality is
working
humans are
in
going to
a
be
marketer's
involved.
voice,
Here's how they're going
right
to be
in the same
involved.
way that
Here's what this
marketers' voice
does
talk about the
to
campaigns that they
sustain and
want to run.
support that.
And I will ground that in
That
evidence,
is a
in
good thing.
data, in targets, in values.
To your
Yeah,
earliest
and
point,
when
Liz,
you
they
do
are an
that, right,
eminently
you can
practical
find
group
what's not
of
working.
people,
I
and
can tell you this,
which
is
is
there a
one of their
cohort of
greatest
this case,
possible
right, that are not
strengths,
responding or no longer responding to your incredible outreach?
despite that
And if
heavy
you give me
metal
that information,
demon
we can go back and actually we can create more
cyber
relevant creative.
terminator.
We can update what we're doing. We can change our campaigns on the fly. We can get to the point that even for
You know what they're
someone like
also very
Miranda,
good
we can have
consistently about
content
doing,
and engagement
Pega,
that is
is
directly relevant and
reminding people
personalized
of
to
the
her.
key
Yeah,
themes
but not too
and
fast, right? You can do that
what
in
happened
design time,
yesterday,
Yeah.
what we
but
told
in
you about
runtime, you
yesterday so
have
many
to give
times.
determination.
Day
You have
two
to be able to
of a
explain it. It has
conference,
to survive
keynote
an
seems
audit.
completely
And you even have an
disconnected from
agile
day
static,
one.
like
Yeah.
3 years ago, what
Reinforcing,
did I
here are
do?
the
Why did I
announcements we
say no?
made,
And
and
these
here's how
language
they all
models,
kind of
they
align
don't give a
together.
why
They're
answer
better at doing that
well.
sort
No,
of
you
across
need
the
that
entire
explainable,
conference than
auditable, predictable
most other
execution at runtime.
Look,
But
they're
the
the
freedom to
again,
iterate
I
at design time, whether it's a
800,000 times. They are
solution
the gold
designer
standard
iterating
for
in
this
Blueprint to
in
think of a new business process,
in the
whether it's a
biggest
marketer
possible way,
iterating with a
year over
creative
year,
agent to come up with a
and
new
in the
campaign,
micro way,
that
from
design time
speech to
iteration
speech,
matched
right,
to
or
that
from
real-time
event to
predictable
event, or from
execution.
person
That
to
is where the
person.
magic
But they
happens. Rob,
are
thank you so much for
remarkably
telling
good
the story.
at
Yes,
keeping
and I
that
love
so that
working with you, Sculptor.
they
It's
don't
amazing. I
freak.
believe
People
you
don't
have
freak
some
out. They
Sculptor things to do
see the
right now. I do
continuity,
too.
and it's
Thank you very
really
much,
important.
and they remember it more
Thanks,
too.
everyone.
Yeah, super important. All right.
All right,
All right, folks.
give me a second. I just want to put on a cloak appropriate picture behind me. There we go. Now I feel at home again. Actually,
Shire.
for the next couple of minutes,
Oh,
A swamp.
we are going to do something that has not been done at a tech conference this year.
He said the last couple of minutes. All right,
Over the
I'll
next
watch
3 to
that.
4 minutes, we are not going to say the word AI or agents once. Yeah.
Go.
What we're going to talk about is the human side of technology, which I think is probably the reason we all do this. Because technology deployed strategically, deployed smartly, not only drives incredible value for our business, it also drives incredible experiences for our customers, or in the story that we're about to hear, for our patients. This is the story of NHS 24, which is the health service of Scotland, which is that beautiful picture that you see behind me. And it's a story about how great technology intelligently
All right, right after this, I go.
come right into those
I
critical
have to
life-saving
go.
I'm
moments
going to sign off
and
as
make a real
well.
difference.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
And finally, not financial services.
But once again, highly complex, highly regulated.
Yep.
Right. I think that's where they shine.
Highly
And also
personalized.
public sector, which is another.
Yeah.
Glad you called. You've done the right thing. We don't know when that phone goes what we're getting. It could be somebody who has fallen and hurt their leg. It could be a mum with a baby with breathing difficulties.
NHS 24 is Scotland's national digital health service. It provides access to care and information for the people of Scotland.
This is like
They
every
have to be at
technologist's
24/7,
nightmare keynote.
and with 99.9%
Because we've gone from a deep dive into marketing,
is to ensure that the
and here we are in the
supports
contact center.
operational workflows, but also
This is
clinically
everyone's
safe.
nightmare.
That's been a big
Of
part
like,
of our role,
here's where you
is
can be
ensuring
applying
that
these
what is
technologies and
built
solutions. This is where you're getting data.
care.
This is where you're
The
making a difference
system
on your
was
bottom
becoming
line.
very
The two
aged
places none of
and
y'all want to
it's
look.
difficult
Yeah.
to make changes.
Patching systems is a very difficult thing to do because what you've not got is safety guards that help guide our staff, our call handlers, and our clinicians through that patient journey.
Staff often had to go back and forth or work around things rather than the system working with them.
So we were at a point in time where we had to procure a new system to be able to provide a stable, secure, and really importantly, a clinically safe platform for our patients to access. Working with Pega, AWS, and Coforge have helped us design an
What was the
intuitive
last one?
system.
Coforge.
Staff are not focused on the system, but are focused on the patient to ensure that they have the right conversation to get the right care.
There is more guidance, it leads them through the call, so less bottlenecks, less having to stop and seek support.
The new system, it has really effective guardrails in place so that our staff are able to navigate through that system seamlessly. And if I look at our average handling time for our patients, we've seen that reduced by 10 minutes. We can deal with more patients. Dealing with more patients helps the whole system in Scotland because they're then able to better navigate their needs for urgent and unscheduled care.
By being able to adapt and change things very quickly, that's proven that there is obviously the ability to change and to put things in place to make things safe. That's what's given me confidence. It is that continuous improvement and striving to do the best we can to provide the most efficient and effective care we can.
If I reflect back on our journey to deliver our digital transformation programme, it has been nothing shy of remarkable.
I liked her.
I like them all. Yeah.
That was great.
All right, guys.
Just an incredible story. We at Pega, our partners at
I will
AWS,
see you.
are really honored to
See
get
you
to
soon.
partner with NHS 24.
Love you all.
Is what is such a mission and life critical application. So that's the end of our AI break. You didn't hear AI or agents anywhere inside that conversation, but under the covers, that's exactly what they're using to provide a system that is responsive, that anticipates patients' needs, that ensures that operators aren't fighting the system, but just have the information they need to be able to deliver the care that they want. And I think the other thing that you heard was that it was a story as much about transformation and change in the business and in the people as it is in technology. And as leaders, that part of the conversation is so incredibly important, right? Yes, the technology is incredible. Yes, these models are so powerful. But unless we can all drive the change in our businesses, the curiosity in our teams, the reimagination of the ways in which we've always worked, none of this will actually deliver any value, and we'll just be looking at those spiraling token costs. So to wrap us up today, we wanted to have a little bit of conversation with some senior leaders about how they are driving and how they're seeing others drive that real change inside their business. So we're going to have Alan Trefler, our founder and CEO, Diane Lettingham, who's a member of our board of directors and an advisory partner at Bain & Company, and Ravi Kumar, who is the CEO of our partner Cognizant, and also on Time Magazine's top 100 thinkers in AI list. So I think this is going to be a really exciting conversation. Please join me in welcoming Ravi.
It's been driving me crazy, so I had to look it up. Part of that NHS story in Scotland is also an AWS partnership story, which they kind of alluded to at the very end there, because they are, I'm almost positive they're on Amazon Connect as their contact center, as their CCAS solution. So they've, you know, I think we're going to see a lot more of these chats.
Good morning, PegaWorld.
Oh, good morning,
Diane. I
Diane.
wanted to talk to you about how you, as leaders in your organizations, can help drive your organizations to get full potential out of AI. We wanted to start by talking about the people element. We know that there's been so much variability in how companies have adapted AI. We know that the ROI in terms of the human talent investment so far, as well as the financial capital investment, the ROI has been highly variable. So we thought we'd share some perspectives and best practices as we think about how we go into this next.
This is really smart of Pega. They've been hammering the token stuff and the tokenomics and costs, and now they're going to end on a conversation around this stuff. It really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What do we think?
And they're bringing the right partners to the table to have the conversation. So that's really smart.
Organization. Yeah. Ravi, let's start with you.
Perfect. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you, Alan, and thank you all for joining us today. So, what an exciting time we are all living in. I mean, the workers who go to jobs today and the workers of the future. I think this is probably one of the best times to be in, work.
Yeah, you got to convince the young folks about that one.
In the last
I don't
50
think they
years or
see it
so,
quite the same way.
we drew a lot from the Industrial Revolution, where workplaces, and workforce were all integrated. To some extent, that integrated template was kind of disrupted during the pandemic. And of course, before that, the asymmetry of information, which really created, really created differentiation between people and organizations, kind of with the internet and the digital revolution, it kind of got away. We then started to pivot to asymmetry of intelligence. And to a large extent, we lived in an era of scarcity for intelligence. Here we are now, we are going to live in an era of abundance for intelligence. So what's going to differentiate people and organizations is how you apply that intelligence in a very controlled, in a very responsible way to the work we do. So asymmetry of applying intelligence is going to be the new human endeavor in enterprises and for people. And I'm going to touch upon a few things which I believe are tectonic shifts to this big revolution we're all living in. First, if you look at the last 25 to 30 years, we drifted value from the front lines by building layers of white collar jobs, as we call it, and we layered analytical intelligence on it, and we created a lot of jobs around it. So the value drifted from the front lines upwards. Here we are now with this technology, which is diffusing faster. The, the interaction is with natural language. That capability is going to drift downwards to the front lines. So it's a fantastic thing because you could actually tire it with wages and more jobs. I mean, the front lines really didn't get so much value in the last 25 to 30 years. So you're going to get a lot into the front lines, which could be nurses, could be operators, it could be call center agents, could be somebody on the trading desk. So a variety of front lines are going to drift that value. Now, if we want to design jobs which will cater to that drift of capability, we have to make sure that the value is moving to access. Value is actually not moving to controls, because if the value moves to controls, it'll then get locked as margins or as value to the people who are actually putting capital to build this. So I would believe as that capability drifts downwards, and if you power these jobs well, judgment, accountability, and outcomes will become the new asymmetry. And if that happens, you're going to see more wages because you're no longer paying people for executing tasks. You're actually paying people, you're paying people for decision ownership. And decision ownership will mean incremental wages and incremental and more jobs. So that's a big shift, which we are hoping that institutions, organizations are going to pivot to. A few other things. We're going to see pyramids of talent more broaden. You're going to see more early careers. In fact, I've been a big evangelist for more early careers. This is a counter narrative to what everyone else is saying. Early careers are going to see a lot more. You're going to see shorter pyramids because the path to expertise is going to be much shorter. And you're going to see player coaches in the middle. And the jobs which will go away are the jobs which are primarily people who are actually moving information up and down, coordination and orchestration kind of jobs. Those nodal points will become very real time and they'll become very agentic. So people in the middle are going to be player coaches. Now, I have grown up walking the corridors, learning from people around with experience. And if I have to get judgment, I have to get own outcomes. If the pyramids are going to be shorter, how are we going to actually capture that expertise? We're going to capture that expertise by digital labor. And digital labor is going to leave traces. And what I mean by digital labor is agentic or agents. They're going to leave traces. And if you're able to capture those traces, you're going to see a level of heritage and expertise, which is going to be, which is going to be captured there. I mean, there is so many other interesting things related to this big shift. The productivity from the bottom of the pyramid is going to be much higher than the productivity at the top of the pyramid. So you want to lift the whole pyramid up, which is going to create upward social mobility. Entry barriers to new jobs are going to be completely disrupted because you can actually power yourself with this technology, which kind of gives you expertise on your fingertips. So there are so many of these things.
Because it's the expertise that's getting commoditized.
In fact, there's
that's what I say.
Right? It's the experience that we all have, that people have. That's what people are going to get paid more for, is to manage that complexity across experience.
70 to 80 million jobs are going to go away. So if we are able
to, I hope that's the case.
Reskilling,
still not completely sold.
It's going to actually create more shared prosperity, and that's what
I mean. All this sounds great.
Yeah, like don't you? Yeah, like.
Thank you, Alan. What's your view on what's
Here comes.
uniquely human?
Is it going to be spicy?
Yes. Come on.
Well, I think what's going to be critical here is that we all build cultures that not just encourage, but really drive continued transformation. And to me, the key element of that, the element that actually supports what Robbie's talking about, but I think needs to be discussed explicitly, is the importance of curiosity in the staff members. One of the things that some cultures undertook was to believe that they wanted to have a learning culture where people were trained. These days, we need a learning culture in which people want to learn. We're actually candidly hiring and promoting people because they want to know more than they did the week or the month before. These leaders should be talking to them about the importance of them embodying curiosity in what they do. And what has truly become amazing is the accessibility to learning and the accessibility to information and the accessibility to understanding the nuances of something that maybe you heard the customer talk about, or maybe you saw in the production report that a certain type of part was having some difficulty getting produced. Well, you can now go to the AI and have it explain in incredible detail what's happening.
Yep.
And that's how we'll become smarter in a way I don't think we could have envisioned. When my mom bought the Encyclopedia Britannica for me, and I was going to have to go through something letter by letter. Hey, it comes to you now, which is a big deal.
It's great. I think that to add to what you have each said, I think the role of leadership is going.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? That Alan's built a culture that demands everyone be celebrated in exactly how they are, exactly how they come to the company, whether that's an employee, whether that is a customer. You're a customer with $1 billion of legacy on your shoulders. Great. You come as you are. If that is about celebrating diversity, celebrating pride on stage at a conference, it's about celebrating who people are as they come through Pega's door. And that is foundational to this culture. And I find that to be really refreshing and amazing, especially in a time when we haven't necessarily celebrated that, right?
I think it also, you can tell they value experience. Look at all the people that have been there for decades.
25 years. Yes. Right. That's experience like at every level. And they, the fact that they move from within, the fact that you have people like Tara, like, let's be honest about our friend Tara DeWow for a second. Said it right. Easily be poached by any number of companies. Any number of companies will have probably sent recruiters after her specific.
Right.
Here she is.
Right. Don,
Don,
Rob.
Yeah, absolutely.
I talked to the CIO yesterday, 25 plus years at Pega. So they're not only talking the talk, they're literally walking the walk.
Yeah.
They are helping with the expertise with the agents and spreading that and that, but they also do value the expertise
strategy.
beyond just the
So there's
insights
leaders
and
that
the
are
intelligence.
ensuring that
Yeah,
while they're
I
thinking
think
absolutely.
you're
about
right.
all the
They're,
different ways that they
they're
can work
virtually
more
showing and displaying
effectively, delight their
they
And
customers,
it's
believe
not
in it.
performative. I
that
think
they're
that's the
also
thing
going
that
back to the
is
mission
wildly
of
important
the
here, right?
organization,
They, like
to
you
the
said, they
vision,
walk the walk,
and
right? This is
importantly
a
to the
company that's
values.
they
Going
aren't
back to
being
something you said,
cute or
Alan,
performative when they put out
how
the
we're going to use
pronoun
AI to fortify
buttons
our culture and continue to
Right.
you
differentiate.
put on your badge.
Because if
They
that gets
are
lost
earnestly
in
asking you
translation,
how you would
I
like to be
think that
called.
there's going to
That's
be
And
a
it's
different.
problem in
also,
getting
I
full
mean, they
utility
don't,
and full value
in this
out of the
particular
technology before
day
us.
and age, in the current administration we're in,
Next
they
question.
don't have to do that.
So
No,
Matter of
they
fact,
how
don't.
does an
a
organization
lot of folks don't want to do that because it brings attention to them that they don't want.
100%. Yeah, 100%. But I think that Pega also respects that. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to do it? Great.
So
You
that
come as you are. Like they are really living that tenet. And I
when you
I
need
don't
that
think
innovation
we call
in
that
order
out
to
enough as a
create
market and
value
as an
for the
industry
company.
of
So how do you
when they're getting
manage
on
that
stage and
balance?
saying diversity, curiosity,
Yeah,
inclusion
so
is important. They
Diana,
mean
great
it. Like
question.
they're
Yeah.
building
Capability of AI
to
is
achieve
right
that.
out there, and it's only going to get
That
better
comes
and
right
better.
from the top.
Yeah.
Production value is way below. And that gap and that bridge is what companies like Pega, companies like Cognizant have to partner and bridge. Now, why is there a gap between the capability and the production value? That is because we don't use this technology to reinvent businesses, imagine businesses. You can't apply this on old process and assume there is going to be magic coming out of it. The second important thing, if you go back to why systems were built in companies, systems were built in companies to run business flows, and people and the deterministic parts of a flow was in a system so far in classical software, and people actually controlled or rather worked on the non-deterministic parts or the contextual parts of a company. That led to the heterogeneity of enterprises. Now, here we are now with this technology where the lines between systems and people are going to blur. And you're going to see systems, people, digital labor, human labor and digital labor all coming together, intertwining.
Still got to get used to
create
that
flows of
term,
the
digital
future, which are
labor.
very different to the flows of the past. So if you're taking this technology and putting it into old process, you're really not going to get the productivity you're looking for. You're really not going to get the throughput you're looking for. I think it's important. We have developed something called a science. We've kind of pioneered a science called context engineering now. In fact, there's an HBR article I've written about how to teach AI to be a part of your team, which is kind of touching upon the heterogeneity, the contextual nature, the tribal knowledge, the culture, which Alan spoke about. How do you ground this technology into the heterogeneity of an enterprise so that it is productive enough and integrated into the flows of the company where humans and machines work together? I mean, it's fascinating.
I like that idea of how do you get AI to be good enough to work with your humans? Like
Yeah.
you have to prove that AI is good enough to join this team.
We have
That's a great statement.
It's a really good statement as long as you actually do believe it.
trying to ride the technology on
They can see a lot of companies saying it,
we will
Yeah.
have to
not
rebuild the
really
infrastructure for
believing it.
humans and machines to work together, and we will have to reinvent the flows, and we will have to
I still think
get
younger
the
folks
art of
are trying to figure
contextual
out where do
computing,
they
which is
fit in
very
all of
different from
this.
deterministic computing.
Yeah.
And
Ground the technology in the
generally
hustle of the
speaking,
company.
companies have not done a good
Brewing coffee
job
in
in
Starbucks
making
is
them
very
feel
different to brewing coffee elsewhere.
comfortable about their future.
How do you get the
Yeah.
agents to get the feel and the hustle and the heritage of the company? I think is very important. So if we are able to do this,
I like that
I
they're
think
at least
production value will
addressing
start to,
and talking about a little
go
bit
up,
of
and you're going to see a bridge.
how important
The
the culture
tokens
and the experience
or
is.
cost.
Yeah.
Look, token consumption, Alan spoke about it yesterday. It's a vanity metric. I mean, we have people at bridge parties talking about how many tokens they're consuming. Right?
New badge of honor.
I think the best way
Is
to
that
look
new
at it,
cocktail talk, cocktail party?
tokens is an architectural problem. You need to know how to build the harness. You need to get the model routing. You need to get the quality of context You can throw everything at it, it'll be super expensive. But you should be able to decompose the work and create quality of context. And you should be able to create repeatability
Quality
and
of
compounding
context.
factor. And that's what Pega is doing with Blueprint. They're taking a lot of that stuff and putting it at design time so that the runtime costs go down significantly. And that's very important. So we will have to start to build these harnesses which will allow measuring token yield versus token consumption. And that I think is very important.
Pega is actually going to lead their competitors into this conversation, because I don't know how they can't be part of this conversation.
In some ways, it's
being
being exacerbated
by head on, like
CEOs and boards having this drumbeat of use AI. And what I see it leading to,
here he comes.
By the way, this will be a very expensive and ineffective place that it leads to, is, well, I'm going to draw a chess analogy. People will stare at a chessboard and they'll see the first kind of move that looks good. And they'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to move the knight there. And maybe it is a good move. Maybe it's not a good move. But the way a chess master looks at a board, and the way I think a mature business person needs to look, despite the drumbeat, is to say, we're going to identify 3, 4, 5 candidates, alternative ways that we could really use and apply this technology that have differences. So we're actually in a position to make some choices. And instead of just jumping on to the first move that sounds like it makes sense, is going to look good in the next board meeting, we actually seriously evaluate which candidates are going to lead to those results, are going to lead to the adoption. And this idea of actually establishing candidates in a conscious, structured way, candidly doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take a new way of thinking. And from my personal example in chess, when I establish candidates, as I hopefully will do this afternoon, someone, it can go fast, but it definitely goes a lot better than we just glom onto the first pawn capture that looks good.
I think that's right.
I love watching him do that. Play 15 people at the same time.
So crazy. So crazy.
The citizen
He just walk around with his drink.
They've been given a
Stop, make a move.
maybe not think.
And then when he stops, like when he has to stop to think about, like really think about the 3 moves forward, you know that person is like, ooh.
By role or by
Pretty
process. How do I think about harvesting what's working and actually sunsetting very deliberately what's not? So we have some life cycle management of what some of the innovation has been and determining what those standards are. And then coming back to your point on ownership of agents or artifacts, who's actually going to be accountable for some of this innovation and managing it and incorporating it into the business process and establishing it over time so we can get out of the frenzy, but get into the business of doing some significant.
I actually love how every couple of years, the concept of citizen development goes from being awesome, or what we used to call end user computing, awesome, to oh my God,
it's expensive.
and how do we control it? To back and forth. Those to me are the antithesis of thinking in terms of candidates.
Yeah. And Dan, what's going to happen now? I think this is at least what I'm already seeing it with our clients. I think the chapter 1 was experimentation, the wow factor, and the novelty factor, if I may.
And learning.
Chapter 2 is going to be more nuanced, more specific, and grounding the technology into the reality of
it's very comfy and very big, because it looks like he's swallowed up in that.
I do believe economics, predictability.
Those chairs are awful to try to figure out how to sit in, because you either like perch on the very edge where it looks like you're about to jump on everybody, or you're like chilling. You're like leaning way back.
Like Emma.
The focus has been on elimination versus creating new things. And I think we're living in a slightly, I would say, uncertain economic world.
Slightly.
So
I don't know. I
pivoted
up that
to
one.
elimination. What can
By the
I
way,
do?
the Nasdaq is melting down as we speak.
versus how do I create new products, new services. I wish the technology was put in the can, we brewed it a little more, and we took it out after some time.
So what are going to be the metrics of success and the enablers of success that we haven't talked about yet?
Amplifying human potential, the ability to
How do you
open
put
every
metrics on
flow,
that?
audit, eval, and deploy, able to reinvent end-to-end flows, which means better straight-through processing, much lesser time on doing tasks which are mundane, the ability to create new products and new services. In fact, if we are thinking of $1 trillion of spend on, there's $1 trillion of spend on AI infrastructure, there's going to be $5 or $6 trillion projected for the next 3 years. If you want to recover that money from businesses for value, it should be at least $14-15 trillion, which means the GDP growth of the world has to be 2+% increase.
Yes.
And if all of that doesn't happen, it's a bubble.
Right.
If it happens, it should get embedded into the flows of the company. It's not just software engineering, because that's where all the spend is.
Those are some pretty huge numbers.
For better work. Just to give you an example, we are very big on healthcare. In healthcare, there are 20 million people who work in the United States. 5 million people work in care. 15 million people work on administrative work around healthcare.
That's why.
What happens if we take some of that money and divert it to care? That's the kind of thing which should happen. And I'm hoping.
Although I do wonder about the veracity of that number when you consider that a lot of urgent care and case care contact center workers in the healthcare system in the US are actually considered part of the administrative burden and not part of the care burden. Yet they are critical to the care burden. So it's like we keep getting back into that age-old argument over, okay, is the contact center an experiential point or is it an operational cog?
The success is ensuring
how many companies still treat operational costs? And I don't think you should be treating it as an operation.
Yeah, like those days are over. Like they're over.
That can help them reimagine where they want to take the business. Those experts that can help them think about what is the right pace that isn't seemingly foolish or thoughtless. As we were suggesting, there's been some of that in this first chapter. And to make sure that the ambitions are bold but pragmatic, and are also seeing that actually those companies that are taking the change management as seriously as the technology, which is there and will continue to get better, but doing those things in tandem are actually setting the companies up for better success. And those companies are seeing progress when they're metering that human element, because there isn't really going to be the kinds of returns that you're talking about.
That term is rough, though. Metering the human element.
Yeah, that step's real close to, I'm going to treat you like a dirty human meat suit. Like that
expertise, as we talk about that expert.
Does it have to be dirty?
What are some of
yes, because that's how they treat it. If you treat your contact center agent like a dirty human meat suit who dared to spend too much time talking to the dirty human meat suit that dared call in because they had a problem, you've just described the problem in the contact center.
Many of you have.
It's like you're treating them like garments.
Oh, we totally do.
Change to capitalize on the
always like, oh, they called in because they had a problem because their product failed.
They asked me this question, I would have
deflect them immediately. Contain them right now.
I would say
deflect them.
Yeah. They deserve to be deflected.
Domain and technology, interdisciplinary skill.
Yeah, I don't think they realize that you're about an hour and 45 minutes in. This is very long at this point.
Oh, this is supposed to go on until 11.
Yeah, I saw the 2 hour, but we still got 20 minutes to go. I think they got to realize it's kind of hard to do 2 hour keynotes.
This is a great conversation. Like, this is what's frustrating.
Yeah.
The three of them are having an amazing conversation on stage.
They are.
But my brain is deteriorating worse than like short-term memory on a crappy server. Like, it's going fast.
That's why I try to tell a lot of vendors, This maybe you could get away with this pre-pandemic.
Section of technology and
Because
domain.
of the pandemic,
Of course,
we were all watching
going to
about
be
things at
less
the same
task
time.
execution,
And
more
we would
judgment, more
turn to
empathy,
whatever
more
got our attention the most.
accountability. So you're going to see
Yeah.
more
You
of,
can't you can't
critical
keep
thinking
people's
being very
attention for like more than
part of
45 to
process.
75 minutes.
A little while ago on
As
But
great
here's
as
what-
this was.
I mean, we've
This is what
drawn
fascinates me, though.
the learning template from the
That
industrial
Wells Fargo
revolution. For the
conversation
first 25 years,
that
we
was
go to
so
school,
well
50
paced, was
years we
going, there's
work,
great
and
information, it was
retire.
keeping, that was
Now
30
it's been
minutes.
built
Yeah.
slow pace.
But it didn't
Right?
feel like it at the
It didn't
beginning.
feel like it.
Speed world, you need to
You can
build
do it at the
lifelong
beginning,
learners
have
in
that
K-12
kind of.
schools.
If you try to do that conversation after this now,
Relearn, and
No,
relearn
we'd be done.
years.
Punch out, Maverick.
Learn
Nope.
longer.
I just think they all. This is not a. This is a general statement. You gotta really understand that you have to get your story, your message
Learning
across
to be a part of
in a
the
certain
AI
time. I know it might not be, you know, the
Rapid
best for you
response
guys, but
process.
I think if you ask
If you're
your
not able to
audience,
do that,
they'll give you
then
about
people are going to
60
be left behind and we're not going to see the change.
before they start
I mean, it's
moving on.
the same with
And it
government
kills me
technology
because like
leaders.
every single
Governments are
answer
focused on the
that,
first
like, let's
25
be
years
honest
and the
about what's
last
happening on the
50
stage right
years
now.
rise. The change is
Every
happening in the
single
middle.
answer that's coming from Alan, that's coming from Diane,
So
that's coming
I
from
do
Ravi,
think
absolute home run
learning has to
answers.
intertwine
Absolute
with
home run answers. This is a
and learning
great
resources has
conversation
to be drawn all
that
your life.
I
And you need to build
need
people,
toothpicks to keep my eyes
you need to
open
build
for,
lifelong
and
learners.
not because these people are not brilliant and
So
not
I would
because
say
this
that
is
a
absolutely what we should be talking about.
characteristic of being an
Right.
effective learner
No, I totally agree.
is to actually develop.
It would be. I
what I
think
would
if they had
describe
this
as
conversation at the
constructive
beginning, it would be just as
skepticism.
effective as the one that they
If
did
you're
have
doing
at the
anything
beginning.
in this
But
age of
if you reversed them,
occasional hallucination,
you would
it is
feel the
to be
same
able
way
to
about the
wonder
first one.
whether what we're being told
But you know what's
is the
funny?
right
I just
thing,
thought so. You
how
know
we
how like at the end of the day
validate
today they're
how
doing
we
a
understand it. And I do
convo with
think that
Michael Phelps.
requires that sort of diversity.
I would
of
almost have
skills that
rather
we
seen
talked
Michael
about,
Phelps
and
in this
that
spot and this
poor
conversation
judgment
closing
will be
out
the key
the event,
skill.
because
If we
this
go from
conversation,
taking
even though we're
mindless
talking over it, and so I apologize to people, but because it's
17
brilliant,
levels of
but
human hierarchy to taking
so
mindless
good,
instruction,
so good. It's
actually
this stands
understand
alone.
we will not have advanced.
This would have been a great way to end.
I think so true.
If we were,
I'm going to say this.
I guess, like you said with Michael Phelps,
Schools,
this would be a great
use
conversation
AI
to end with, because then you remember it, the
5
lasting thing.
in workplaces.
How
if
many
you
people
don't
are
use
really
AI,
going to
they
fully
say
remember this
25
as for as great as it was,
I mean, the bridge
because it was an hour and a half in, and there's
Yeah.
more stuff
Life
after.
is stranger than fiction.
So
Do you
the point
remember
I'm
though
making is in
I mean, it
schools,
wasn't
you
that
should
long
learn
ago,
native skills.
like the 4-hour
Without
opening
AI.
keynote.
You do your
You
homework
remember
with
those?
AI
I remember
so that
those.
you amplify your potential.
Jesus.
But you don't
I
miss
don't even
native
know how we
skills. If you
survived.
have the native skills, you can do judgment. You can do,
Oh my
validation,
God.
Imagine
verification.
someone
I mean,
trying to
jobs
pull off a 3 to
are gonna
4
be on
hour
the front,
keynote
and they're gonna
today.
be on the back.
No.
AI is going to be in the middle. You
Well,
do
and to
validation,
some
verification,
companies' credit,
judgment, accountability,
they
outcomes,
do
and
get that. They do understand.
So you need to build native
They say
skills
that
without
the
AI.
keynote is going to be like an hour and 50 minutes, and they finish in an hour. It leaves you with a very positive.
And then when you transition to work,
Even if it wasn't as good as this,
native skills and you're going to
you just
cover
feel
yourself.
better about it because they
Build
told
on
us
that,
it was
because
going to be
I
90
think,
minutes,
Ravi,
and I'm
you're
out of here in an
starting to
hour.
talk
Oh my
about
God, this is great.
Also,
Thank you.
started to think about
although
the
sometimes that does backfire.
infrastructure.
Remember last
Now our
year,
world is gonna change
there is a certain
as we
keynote
continue to
at a
over the
conference that
years of
starts
what
with
it's
the
gonna
word
live
dream,
with
where
AI.
it ended like 20 minutes short, and everyone's like, "What happened?"
When it comes to organizations,
Yeah, that wasn't.
We
Yeah,
all kind of freaked out, where we were like,
need to be rethought.
it was a weird ending.
in AI
"Like,
context.
what does this mean? Who dropped out? Who didn't want to come talk here?" Like, it was like it got conspiracy level.
in every industry.
Like there
Yeah, I
were
didn't go
and the
back
rate
there 'cause I
at
was
which
still at
roles are going
Oracle.
to be changing.
But I
will
heard
be a
about
function of really the
No, it
relevance
was
of
like the
AI to that
20-minute
role, and also the
cut
relevance
that
of that
rocked the
role
entire week. Everyone was just like,
differentiation, and that will accelerate the rate and pace of
Well,
certain roles.
makes
Like
you wonder what's
precision
going to happen
delivers, like we're
this year or
seeing
so.
in some different
Oh, yeah.
organizations
We'll see.
in production.
Anyway, I do hate that we are talking over this,
So we'll
but
see that, and
it's
we'll
just
see
a
that.
part of
I
the
think every role will be affected.
attention you can only
what I'm
give but
saying
so
is
long long
alluded to
and
it,
so
each of you
much
have,
before you
but
kind
we
of
haven't quite gotten
start breaking
right
down a
yet
bit.
as a society is how do we ensure that as a leader or a manager of a team,
I'm guessing this is the last
that you are
thing.
rewriting that role
Yeah, I think so.
They'll be
to
doing.
ensure that you apprentice and teach judgment And the juniors on your team, when the production work that they used to do is now highly
See, this is what I wanted to. This
the
is
way that they
exactly
grew
what I
up
wanted to
through an
hear.
organization was through that experiencing of those production type tasks, whether that's code development, whether that's financial statements, or in management consulting, whether that's doing market or competitive research. Now we have so much of that that can be automated, and yet we can't have our less seasoned or juniors people not have the opportunities to experience that judgment, because then where will we be as an organization or as a society? And I think that's doable, but needs to be very deliberate on what is the experience you give to members of your team as their role is highly, highly changed and disrupted. And we're on the early stage of that, Alan.
Yeah, and I think it's important in evaluating the role change to not just jump reflexively to the first modest improvement you see, but rethink, are there different candidates for what this role can and should be? And let's consciously codify them and consciously pick between them. I think a lot of the reflexive application of AI and change sends people down the path where they haven't actually thought it through enough, and they end up token maxing as if, I mean, who could have thought that was a good thing? What is wrong with people?
Spicy, Alan, it's still spicy.
What's wrong with them is it was the first
Larry
thing they thought.
Dignan says that when
And
you
next
say
they
that you're
well,
token
what are
maxing,
the
you sound like an
alternatives?
incel.
And for the role change, which is huge, we've got to, I think, just give ourselves a little bit.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would say some roles will disappear, some will reforge, and some new roles will come up.
Obviously.
I mean,
What did you say? Reforge?
Today,
Reforged.
existed
Yeah.
in 1940s.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think what AI has done, it has kind of completely blinded us on foresight. We can't see things after 3 years. That's why the terminal value of most businesses is not being measured. So I think they're going to be jobs of the future. They're going to be jobs which are going to be reforged. We should look at it from a lens of the tasks underneath the job. If I'm a teller of a bank, I will be doing a bunch of things differently, and I'll be doing a new set of things versus saying the teller of the bank is going to go away. The teller of the bank is going to remain. The tasks underneath.
Tell you right now, the bank
new
branches have been going away for years.
Intersection of technology and domain, and if the teller of the bank has the analytic intelligence with them, they should be paid more. It so happens that the teller of the bank doesn't get paid more. The analyst who's sitting in an office who has intelligence with
I don't know about this one.
him or her.
This one is a little interesting.
So now you should push that intelligence down to the teller and reorganize, reforge that role so that people in the front lines actually make more money and there is shared prosperity. I mean, this is this.
Do banks actually think that way?
The workplaces.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, let's look at what Citi's doing. They've got a new, I think it's Citi, they have a new ad campaign that's talking about how, so much of your service can be done through AI on your phone, on a computer. So much of your life can be run that way now that it's isolating. And there are times you just want to go and talk to a person about what's possible. And they are showing like that's how they're re-architecting the interior experience of the bank.
A little bit about internal customers, but let's talk about external.
Instead of this big giant monolith where you go give them your money, this is where you're coming and having a cup of coffee and sitting down with a financial advisor, sitting down with a teller to even talk about the practical things of what you do and how you do it. I think that's a fascinating focus on addressing what a lot of people are missing, which is that contact.
That's like going back to the future, because that's how banking was.
100%.
They would know your name, you would know their name, and you would be able to sit down. Then they got rid of the branches, and of course, once the branches were gone, the tellers were gone. It would be very interesting to see how that resurfaces, or I use this term, reforges. So I think that would be great if that were to happen. But
I think that it like there's a funny thing that always happens. Like we get very enamored with the percentages of how much technology is taking over our lives. Oh my gosh. But like, we talk about e-commerce, and while digital commerce and e-commerce is accelerating and has taken over in certain moments, it's still not the dominant form of commerce.
Right. It's not even close yet.
It's not even close. And so while we can talk about the massive double-digit percentage growth, and we absolutely should be, we can talk about what would a theoretical view of agentic commerce look like. But it's not here yet. Like it fundamentally, it kind of exists, but it doesn't truly exist because I don't think either side of the equation really wants it to happen.
Or really actually really know what should happen.
Right. Like here's the deal. I have no problem with an agent reordering and selecting the best toilet paper to automatically send to my house.
Yeah,
great. Fine.
Subscribe, save. Okay.
Subscribe away. Subscribe away. Not a problem. But you know what? I'm still going to the dang store to pick out different pants that when they come up with a different cut, like a barrel cut. If I had an agent buy barrel cut jeans for me, I would look like a really bad cowboy right now. Ain't doing it.
Shout out Mr. Alan Berkson. Yeah, Back to the Future. Where everybody knows your name. Yeah, I think there was a TV show with that.
No.
I think there was.
Although a Back to the Future Cheers would be pretty epic. I do enjoy the idea.
And it's just an
I'm really sorry that we just ended up talking over this.
Quick answer.
Oh, let's listen to the final question.
What should we expect? Alan, you're up first. What do you think?
I always like ending with that question.
I think we will get to hit both the height of inflated expectations and the trough of disillusionment, and ultimately get to a plateau of productivity, since the technology is good. It's just being whipsawed.
I like that
by
one.
all sorts of craziness around.
All right, Ravi.
Yeah, the technology is just mind-boggling. I think in the next 12 months, this is what I hope. We shift from cost imperatives and productivity to new products, new services, and growth imperatives, which I believe the human endeavor couldn't do it on its own. I truly believe that's the power of this technology, and hopefully in 12 months we get there.
I think so.
I don't think we're going to get there in 12 months, but that, I'd like that thinking. I would love to believe that.
With what the returns are, we're going to see companies pull back a bit, and also the rise of the importance of the human element, since we were so tech forward because we were so dazzled and excited by all the new toys in front of us. So I'm looking forward to the rise of the human element. Well, thank you for some of the perspectives that you guys have offered. You know, it's obviously an unbelievably disruptive time. And Bain & Company's done work on periods of high disruption like this. So when you look at the 2009 financial crisis in the United States, when you look at COVID globally, you see it is during these times of massive disruption that companies tend to have their biggest share shifts in positions within their industries. Why? Well, because there are disruptors that are coming into the fore. The business context has changed radically. And so there's new opportunities. And then there are also some leaders, some incumbents that have doubled down and have thought about how they could be even more creative in extending their leadership. And the decisions that we take during some of these most turbulent times really are important ones as we think about how we want to set up our enterprises, our organizations, for how they can compete effectively in the next chapter. And it matters. And so as we saw from behind when those spectacular dancers were entertaining us this morning, it is here now. So I wish you all well and encourage you to go for it and take it. Alan, over to you.
Look, I'll just say goodbye to the morning session. I want to thank all of the people who put this together. It takes not just the participants, the customers and partners who choose to come here and speak, all of you who choose to be part of this community, and candidly, hundreds of behind-the-scenes staff at Pega who bust their ass for months and months and months in a state, and mea culpa, in a state of occasional near desperation and panic, which I actively contribute to. So I will give them my personal applause. Thank
Well
you
done.
very much, all of you.
All right. Let's
And
give our
there's a lot
final
on the
thoughts.
plate.
Oh, he's still
I
going.
am
All right.
so
Let him finish.
excited about our product agenda and what we have, about where we are, about the way we can engage with partners going forward, about the confusion in the marketplace, which has all the risks and opportunities that confusion has. I'd much rather be in a time like this than a more peaceable time. And the extent to which we can work with all of you to paint this new path is one that I am enormously excited, and a path I am enormously proud to be on with all of you. So thank you. Enjoy the Innovation Hub for the rest of the day. Enjoy the remainder of the sessions, and have a great trip home. Thanks.
All right.
Oh, that was a nice end.
That was a nice end. I like, you'd rather be in this time than in peaceable times. That's kind of an interesting.
That's kind of, that might be the ultimate articulation of the brand known as Alan Trefler.
Yeah, it might be.
I like chaos.
Yes, very happy with it. Oh, okay. Your impressions of what we just heard.
Again, I think that Pega is exactly who Pega claims to be. And I like that about them. I really do. They have a blueprint that shows you how to get from here to there. Even if here is, I don't know what systems can connect because none of my systems can connect. And I live in legacy land and I don't think I can do any of this cool AI stuff. Okay. Still, you still get to come through the door here. You don't get shamed. You don't get told you can't do it. None of that happens. And so I think every time I come and spend time with Pega, I walk away with a deeper appreciation of their culture, and that culture very clearly and very intentionally drives their innovation and will continue to drive their growth. This is a company that for decades now has been on the tip of everyone's tongue on the list of companies that will die tomorrow. Right? Pega's got to die. Well, who cares about RPA? Pega's got to die. Who cares about, who cares about any of this process management? They have been discounted and kicked to the curb and sent their obituary so many times. Yet fundamentally, there is something about their culture that thrives on that.
Yeah.
And I do not disapprove. I'm kind of down with it.
You might say it's a kind of a spicy culture, huh?
You know what? Yeah. It's a spicy culture, and their chief spice officer is named Alan.
Yeah, I'll say this. I've been doing, I think we've done about 5 or 6 watch parties so far this year. And every one that we go into, my main hope is that they will address the big concerns that are on their customers' mind, and all this talk about the SaaS apocalypse and pricing of AI and how much is it going to cost and how many jobs are going to be lost. And for the most part, some of them don't even bother mentioning it. Some others nibble around the edges about it. Not here, because it goes headed first, directly in, addressing it, the very first things he says on the stage, and it resonated from that point all the way to the end. And so that's why I appreciate Alan and Pega in general, because they are taking on the big AI anxiety pushing point. And I think it's so important for companies to do that, instead of, even if they don't have the answers, just say nothing. I think even if you don't have the answers, you should address it and say, look, we're still looking for the answers. We hope you help us. We'll be partners in this. Address it. So they do right from part one, even pre-PegaWorld. We were hearing stuff leading up to it. They put out that calculator for calculating how much. they've been addressing this stuff from day one. So it was great that they took. Yeah.
Can we
It's
talk about the calculator for a
great.
second?
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about the calculator.
Okay, the fact that this is a calculator that's showing how much you're actually, like, let's be honest, there are lots of calculators out there right now. There are lots of token calculators out there right now, because the hope is if you can calculate something that feels comfortable, you will change the definition of predictable for comfortable, and you will be okay with that. Because you've got this number and you're like, I don't really love that number, but that number feels comfortable. So I'm going to hold that prediction. Right. Like, I'm going to hold my nose and I'm just going to try to buy into that number. But this calculator, like, if you peel back the niceties that they are actually using in describing this is basically a calculator that's going to show you how much you're going to waste in all of the wrong thinking that you've been doing with all the other platforms. And that is kind of badass. Yeah. The question, of course, is going to always become, and I think it's the question that I come down to every time when it comes to any of our end user customers that are talking to me about Pega, which is, yes, you're going to get that calculator. Yes, you're going to get that blueprint. Yes, you can do all these things. I have long been a fan of Customer Decision Hub. They are consistently, and Pega consistently appears on short lists, especially for marketing automation for B2C enterprise. I have long been a proponent for including them in that list. But what always comes, like where the rubber always meets the road, is a lot of times these customers, while they say, yes, this is what's going to help me. Yes, I'm going to buy into this. Yes, I see the calculator. They're still not ready to give up the dream of what they believe they should have. And that of AI FOMO, that dream of, I want to be an agentic enterprise tomorrow because agentic marketing, agentic finance, agentic commerce, agentic supply chain, agentic loading dock, like whatever we're calling agentic today, sounds so intoxicating that there is, FOMO is real. That worry that you aren't just missing out, but that you are in another, like, let's be honest about the CMOs of today. These are the people that got fired 25
These are your people.
These are my people. And they got fired. We got fired because we didn't jump on the whole URL bandwagon. And we, instead of having our company name, we had to have the blah, 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 or that, right? And then we got fired again when we didn't get the right damn name in social. And that's why you have your brand official, or, like, there are consequences to not jumping on the hype FOMO train. We've lived them multiple times now through digital, through social, through AI feels like that same motion. Like, if we don't blindly jump and say yes and give into our worst moments of FOMO, we're going to get fired again. And I think that is where the conflict happens when a customer starts to look at Pega, because they're so pragmatic and they're like, no, just jump. It's okay. We're going to get you AI. We're just not going to get you the fairy tale of what we believe. And like, when you hear that, you're kind of like, I mean, I've had customers outright say to me, like, I don't know who to not believe. It's not because it's not, I don't know who to believe anymore. It's, I don't know who not to believe anymore. Do I believe that Pega will get me to AI, will get me the things that I need to run this business? Because these guys are saying, I can be up and running in 2 months and I can do all these amazing things. And then glitter and firecrackers and butterflies are going to come shooting out of the computer.
Well, there's up and running, and then there's up and running effectively.
Yes.
And I guess they're just so, as you said, wanting the dream, they don't take enough time to consider there is a difference between up and running and up and running effectively.
Right.
You might want to look at that difference. I like that not only do they have the calculator, but they also talk about the rationale between when to use LLMs in design time versus runtime. It's their conversations, as usually, they fit together.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to talk to the CIO yesterday, David Verdino. I want to make sure I got his name right because I said it wrong the first time I tried it. And one of the things I asked him is, so how does your platform allow you guys to talk about predictable outcomes and predictable costs? He just went right into it very easily and rationally, and it made sense. And once again, sometimes you just don't get that from other vendors when you are talking about the cost element around this AI. So I think people will take heed and start to see, well, if they could talk about it like this, we need to start figuring this stuff out and be able to deliver that kind of message in a very concise and easy way for people to understand, because that's the anxiety that is still out there right now. So
it's real. Yeah.
It's real. And you know what else is real? It's really time for us to get.
It's really 2 hours. We got to go.
Yeah. I want to eat something, anyway. Thank you so much from going from in room to in your room kind of thing. It worked out great. Absolutely. All right. So I usually do on, I'm Brent Leary and Paul usually does I'm Paul Green and I do my out. So I'm just going to say this on behalf of our very nice, very effective, very cool in-room correspondent, Liz Miller. I'm Brent Leary. We will see you later after we actually get out of these rooms because 2 hours is a long time. See ya.